So let's start things off with music news. This week in music, we have Megan Thee Stallion and a metal song, kind of. We also have new tour dates from Pantera and a bunch of other people, as well as Ozzfest making an interesting return, plus a bunch more. Welcome, nerds, to the music news for the week. This is a chunk taken out of the much larger full-length show over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Here in the music section, we like to talk about recent releases, upcoming releases, as well as tour dates being announced, festivals being announced, just regular music-associated news and the whatnot. This week in news, this stuff happened. So let's talk about the music news. No follow-ups or corrections to speak of, so we're just going to get right into the new music/video section, which is honestly a little bit more abbreviated than I thought it was going to be this week, but yeah, it is what it is. So we're going to start things off with a cover, which is kind of what caught my eye with this band that's new to my ears. Lion's Share did a cover of David Bowie's Life on Mars. It's all right. I mean, Bowie, you have to really have some brass cojones to cover Bowie, and so props to them for at least making the attempt. This version of this song is definitely not my favorite version of this song. Not even my second favorite. Obviously, Life on Mars is best done by Bowie, and then my second favorite would be the one from American Horror Story, believe it or not. But still pretty solid. Just kind of sounds like David Bowie if he sang for like a prog rock band, only without as much vocal. So go into it with that. There's a link to the video if you're interested still, and let's continue on. Our only other song this week for the new music section is Megan Thee Stallion has put out a quote-unquote rock remix of her song Cobra, and it gets played on Liquid Metal on Sirius Satellite Radio. And the reason it is a quote-unquote metal song is because it's featuring Spiritbox, who is kind of the popular in the genre. They're still pretty freaking heavy, so kudos to them for getting such mainstream popularity as to do a collab with Megan Thee Stallion. Honestly, the only redemptive parts of this song are Spiritbox. Not a big Megan Thee Stallion fan. This song has not changed my mind by any stretch of the imagination, aside from maybe giving her a little bit more credit with the broadening of her musical vocabulary, in that she's featuring a band that is as heavy from time to time as Spiritbox. So that's cool in and of itself. Just I just can't. A lot of modern rap is not for me, especially Megan Thee Stallion. So kind of take with that what you will. The words. Let's just continue going down the road. From there, let's get into tours and festivals that have been announced since we last spoke. We do have a couple of tours. First up is another Stained tour. Again, another short one. They seem to be just doing very short treks. A couple of weeks at a time, and then taking a couple weeks off, being as they've been in the music industry for so long, kind of makes sense. This one is 11 dates. It's support from Seether and Saint Asonia, I think is how you say that band's name. They're calling this one the Tailgate Tour, so don't know what the significance there is. I was looking to see if like the reason they called it the Tailgate Tour is because there was going to be like tailgating festivities before each show. Does not appear to be the case. Apparently it's just a clever name that they wanted to name the tour, so don't get your hopes up. But like I said, 11 dates starting April 22nd in Brandon, Mississippi, runs through May 15th in Pelham, Alabama. Tickets are currently on sale. You got to get them from stainedofficial.com is the only place I found to get tickets, so go check that out. From there, we have Tool has made another touring announcement. This one is a European tour, starts in Hannover, Denmark on May 25th, runs through June 22nd in Oslo, Norway. Again, Tool's website is going to be the only place that you can get tickets for this as far as I know. Don't know exactly how to get ticketing otherwise in European countries. So yeah, they don't have like a Ticketmaster situation, which is probably a great thing, not gonna lie. Anyway, continuing on, we have Pantera has announced another North American tour. Also getting more support from Lamb of God, because why not? Like, two of the biggest bands in the world ever that have a similar sound, not the same, but similar. Definitely the guys in Lamb of God. I remember reading an interview early on with Mark, guitar player for Lamb of God, Mark Morton, where he kind of implied that there was a gaping hole left in the music community when Pantera stopped making music together, because this is back when Vinny and Dime were both still alive. So when Pantera stopped making music, there was this big missing thing, and so that was kind of his approach to writing music, at least at that time, was to fill the hole that Pantera left. Not to say that they're ripping Pantera off by any means, because Lamb of God is great in their own right, but it's really interesting to me that the two legs of this tour, because effectively it's the same tour, they're taking a little bit of time off from the end of the first leg and the beginning of this next leg that we're about to announce, but it's effectively the same tour because it's the same support. Like, there's no, it just, yeah, whatever. So yeah, really interesting to me, really awesome, because two great bands touring together is always a good thing. So yeah, support from Lamb of God starts February 3rd in Sunrise, Florida, runs through February 27th in Quebec City, Quebec, Canada. Again, tickets are available on Pantera.com. Go check it out. Veil of Maya is our next tour. Veil of Maya is getting support from ANGELMAKER, Reflections, ALLUVIAL, Left to Suffer, and Until I Wake. Left to Suffer and Until I Wake will not be on the same shows together. They are going to be alternating between those two bands. But this is a hell of a bill, man. Veil of Maya is really, really good. I mean, say what you will about the more recent stuff, because the vocally it seems that when a band grows, people in the scene, especially in the more aggressive side of the scene, don't tend to have much appreciation for it, but I can dig some new Veil of Maya. I do agree, though, their older stuff is a little bit better. Never heard of ANGELMAKER, but they're pretty big from what I've been able to gather. ALLUVIAL, though, is definitely a band to listen to. They're an up-and-coming band from Georgia, I believe, and they are freaking cool as shit. And then Left to Suffer is from, I want to say Scotland, but I think that's wrong. But also a very, very cool up-and-coming band, so it's really awesome that these guys are all on the same bill. I'm not sure about Until I Wake, but they're not on the date for my stop, so if I go to this one, I get to see Left to Suffer. Anyway, this tour starts January 19th in Green Bay, Wisconsin, runs through February 16th in Joliet, Illinois. Joliet? If I'm French, I'm saying Joliet, but then we say whatever. So tickets are available. There is a pre-sale going on until Friday. You can follow the link down in the description to get to the pre-sale. Otherwise, you can find it through the band's websites. And then our final piece of touring information has to do with favorite of the channel of Sulfur has announced a new tour. Once the Bleeding Through tour ends and then the new year comes, because they're not going to tour over the holidays, because that's just silly. But they are starting February 7th, so they're taking the entire month of January off, it would seem. Support for this tour comes from Mental Cruelty, Ghost Bath, and Extermination, Dismemberment. Mental Cruelty, pretty decent. Ghost Bath is pretty good. Not the biggest fan of the opener, Extermination, Dismemberment, but it's all right. Of Sulfur definitely is going to make up for the fact that that opening band is kind of so-so. Anyway, starting, once again, February 7th in Mesa, Arizona, runs through March 9th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Tickets available, once again, if you follow the link down in the description through StubHub. That's what we got for tours and festivals. Let's talk regular ass news. We do have a couple of things here. First up is Ozzfest making a return. Kind of. There is a documentary called We Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll, which was being made during kind of the heyday of Ozzfest, even the earlier days of Ozzfest, because this is about 20 years in the making. It was never released for whatever reason. See Sharon Osbourne over on Wikipedia and you'll kind of get an idea of why that might have been a thing. But this is coming from the same documentarian who brought us the Decline of Western Civilization series, the 3 documentaries about the decline of Western civilization. The first 2 were about punk rock and the third one was about metal in the mid to late 80s and into the early 90s, kind of. So this is almost like an extension of the Decline of Western Civilization in a certain way, which is really, really cool. Those are great documentaries, and believe all 3 of them are available for free on YouTube right now. So if you've never seen them, by all means, go watch them because it's good quality stuff. Penelope Spheeris is the name of the documentarian. Once again, 20 years in the making. You're going to see some really early footage of Slipknot, of System of a Down in here. I believe this is one of the Ozzfest dates, one of the Ozzfest tours, rather, that featured Black Sabbath as the headline, not just Ozzy solo. So that's significant in and of itself because I think they only did that twice throughout the span of Ozzfest's existence. I'm pretty sure only 2 of those years had Black Sabbath doing their reunion tours. So it's fairly significant in many respects, not the least of which being that. I did not find a release date for it, but it will be coming out soon. If we can find a release date before I publish this, then I'll put it up on the screen. Otherwise, we'll probably just have to do a quick follow-up in one of the live shows between now and next year. From there, let's move over to Linkin Park is getting a little bit of controversy thrown their way. So the bass player who recorded the early music that led into Hybrid Theory, he was on a couple of tracks on Hybrid Theory as well, but that is part of the lawsuit that we are talking about here. So former bass player Kyle Christner is suing Linkin Park for royalties and unpaid dues and just kind of everything involved with, hey man, I wrote that part of your music and you haven't been paying me for 20 years, so let's settle this in court, shall we? It does stand to reason that, yeah, he did wait 20 years for this to really kind of go through this, because reasons, apparently. The thing that piqued his interest, like, you can excuse that, I would say, because I was part of that band, just have no interest, too much bad blood, it sounds like, for him to really listen to the recordings that made it to press. And then they did that, the re-release of the Hybrid, the anniversary edition of the Hybrid Theory record that featured some of the demos and some of the earlier versions of these tracks, of these songs as they were evolving. And he was very much a part of a lot of that early material, according to him. Also, though, according to Mike Shinoda, who said in an interview when the anniversary edition was released, he acknowledged at least a single track. And it stands to reason, if he was on the one track, he's probably on a few more of these older recordings. So I feel like he's got a bit of a leg to stand on for this one. But yeah, we will definitely see how this pans out for Mr. Christner. That is what we have for regular ass news this week, leading into the off season. So let's get into suggestions. So suggestions for this episode are going to be interesting because some of them are going to be suggestions that should last over the course of the off season to a certain degree, at least. And we'll probably talk about good stuff during the live shows as well. So we'll take suggestions from that too. But yeah, whatever. We're just going to continue. Music suggestion this week. We have Slaughter to Prevail's first label record, Costolum. This is the record that they put out while they were signed to Sumerian Records. It's I believe the only record that they have done with Sumerian. They're getting out of their contract in order to put out this next one, I believe. From the way that Alex the Terrible has been talking about it, it sounds like that is the way they're going. But standout tracks for this one, obviously Baba Yaga, Demolisher, Bonebreaker. It's a very front-heavy record as far as the standout stuff goes, but it is a good record through and through. Go check out Slaughter to Prevail's Costolum today and just kind of digest it over the course of the next couple of weeks, because It's a good one. Once again, this is just the music section. There is a much longer show called The Week in Nerddom over on the main channel, youtube.com/generallynerdy. Go check out the entire show or just subscribe here and do all of the things. Appreciate your faces, nerds. Before we go though, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.